We begin tonight with a call to young candidates contesting elections in 2019 to build capacity and content in order to win the trust of the electorate before they can nurse any hope of victory at the polls. The executive director of the Young Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement made this known in Abuja at the convergence of the largest gathering of young candidates from 91 political parties. The three-day event provides an opportunity for young candidates to network in the build-up to the 2019 elections. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
The Run bill was signed into law on the 31st of May 2018, reducing the age of running for elective positions for House of Assembly and House of Representatives from 30 to 25 years, Senate and governorship from 35 to 30 years, and the office of the President from 40 to 30 years. Seated here are beneficiaries of the passed bill. This convergence is an opportunity for them to learn from the experiences of past young candidates.
We've got an opportunity through the convergence first to inspire every young person. But for you who are here and for others who couldn't make it, we stand in solidarity with you and to say that we are with you on this journey to change Nigeria.
The United Nations estimates Nigeria's population as of the 10th of December 2018 at around 198 million, with over 70% of that figure young people. The head of office in the Department for International Development gave insights on how to make that number count during elections.
Some of you may be saying, why should I care about these things that this lady's talking about? All I want to do is get elected, right? So my challenge to you this morning is no, that's not right. For the simple reason that whether you get elected or not, these are the issues that are central to Nigeria's future.
Getting the candidacy of a political party, especially in Nigeria's political space, is a great feat for these young candidates. But the journey is just beginning.
When I started out, I was a double minority. Yeah. I was young and I was a woman. Yeah. And it was very tough. But you know what it is? The average Nigerian just wants you to connect with them and tell them the truth.
While we talk here, there are a lot of things that we talk in politics that are ideal. But those of you that are doing the grassroots politics that are back at home, you know the reality is the financial demand on a daily basis.
It promises to be an interesting ride for these young candidates. For the next 3 days, the conference aims to equip them with the right attitude and values to deliver the much-needed good governance and quality representation the country needs. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Now, vote buying and manipulation of the electoral process in Nigeria has inflicted unmitigated disaster on the citizens. And that's according to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, who is speaking at a one-day public hearing organized by the National Assembly on improving electoral processes in Nigeria. Our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, reports.
The term vote buying has recently come to dominate discussions whenever free, fair and credible elections are being considered. It appears everyone, except those who participate in it, agree that it endangers the democratic values of any country. How to address this problem and improve the country's electoral process is the focus of this gathering, which is convened by the Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Electoral Matters. The Senate President and the Speaker kick off the conversation.
Understanding criminal manipulation of the electoral process in Nigeria has left our citizens in a state of unmitigated disaster. As a result, we have been married off to a mob. Our democracy has stagnated and will sadly remain so until we eliminate all sham elections which have the effect of throwing up the walls of us to lead the base of us. It is all too clear that security agents are beginning to emerge at major plugs in the election process. Reports of collusion of political actors to disenfranchise voters is very worrying indeed. We cannot, under any circumstance, neutralize elections. because that defeats the purpose of free, fair, and credible polls.
For the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the issue of vote buying is not new, and there are some laws already in place to check the menace.
Sections 124 and 130 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended criminalize bribery and inducement generally, of which vote buying in cash on election day is only one dimension of the illegality. In addition, several laws of our land make bribery and inducement criminal conduct, such as the Administration of Justice Act, the EFCC Act, and the ICPC Act.
Displaying a sample ballot, he outlines some steps being taken to check vote buying.
And once it is done like this, and the voter votes in the voting cubicles, he is supposed to flatten the ballot paper like this. It's flattened. And by the time the voter emerges from the voting cubicle, he will emerge with something like this that nobody will know which party he shall vote. Before then, the ballot paper is dropped into the ballot box.
Other participants at the event also contribute to the discussion.
Do we now look into the laws and look at the situation where if primaries are conducted and some of these things are going on, what aspects of the law empowers the security agency to come and say, look, you here, the way we see you here, you are involved in vote buying or you are involved in vote selling. Why should you be at this point? We are charging you under this electoral law.
With just about 67 days to the coming elections, the recommendations and findings of this public hearing will still have to be adopted in each chamber of the National Assembly before it is disseminated and possibly implemented. Lanre Lassisi, Channels Television News.
Now let's take a deeper look at the issues. And joining me live from Abuja is the convener of the Not Too Young to Run movement, Samson Itodo. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening.
All right, now you've come a long way since the signing of the bill into law, but just beyond that critical moment, how much progress will you say the movement has made, I mean, at all levels of government in this political season, looking at it?
I think the movement has made tremendous progress. First, it's just even renewing the faith of young people who had lost faith in democracy and our democratic institutions. And we've seen over the last couple of months and all through the Not Too Young to Run, that young people have renewed their faith in democracy. That's first. The second, we're beginning to see a lot of young people indicate interest to run for office. For the very first time, we're seeing under 25s actually indicate interest to run for office. We're seeing under 35s also running for office. We've seen young people who are under 40s now running for office. This was never the case before the bill was passed into law. The third stream of revolution that we are seeing is we're beginning to see a lot of young people actually questioning public leadership and want to add value. And that is why they are demonstrating interest to run for office. A lot of them were members of the major political parties. And you know that the party primaries were signposted with all forms of thuggery, imposition of candidates. But they were resolute, and they went to other parties and secured the candidature of those parties. And we can see from today's meeting with this convergence, which is a first, actually, where you've got over 400 candidates from 91 political parties coming together under one roof, convened by the Not Too Young to Run movement, to have conversations around the 2019 elections and seek ways of how to win these elections. And these young people are actually running to win. They're not just running to win because they are young, but they are running to win because they've got character, they've got competence, and they've got capacity to provide the excellent public leadership that Nigeria so desires at this moment.
Yes, I hear what you say, but I'm looking at those who are running for president, for instance. Let's just take that category. Very few of them are below the age of 40. So is this a movement for the future, or, you know, how are you seeing it? I'm talking about the politics of today now, rather than what you hope it to be.
There are two streams to this. First is the fact that you've got young people even considering to run for the office of the president. It's something that is quite remarkable. It was never the case before, because you had a constitution that said, hey, you needed to be 40 before you can aspire to run for office. We're beginning to see more younger people who are indicating interest. So I think that it's a work in progress. Democracy itself is a process. And so we're on this journey together. The second stream is a revolution. The foundation has actually been laid for a revolution. And we're seeing young people indicating interest. Our agenda as a movement is for the state houses of assemblies and see how we increase the number of young people actually come to the state house, secure seats in the state house of assemblies, as well as the House of Reps and the Senate for the 2019 elections. And if possible, and if Nigerians are very desirous of a younger president in 2019, we've got young people who are over 40, although they are not within the youth age category, but you can still consider them to be young compared to the candidates of the two major parties
Mr.
who are in their 70s.
Let me just
and that foundation for us has been laid, and we know that the revolution will take place very soon.
Let me just ask you quickly to come back to today's event, the Convergence. What is it? Is it a political alliance, influence group for 2019? Some are beginning to speculate, in political language, we see alliances, people coming together. What exactly is the Convergence?
The Convergence is a very, very historic meeting of youth candidates. It's never happened before where we've got over 400 candidates converge under one roof from the 91 political parties. And what the movement sought to do was, after the struggle to reduce the age for running for office, it brought candidates together to inspire them, to build that network of young people who are running. But most importantly, is to be inculcating them the values of the kind of leadership that Nigeria needs. Nigeria needs a leadership paradigm that prioritizes the common good and the interest of the people. And this was a unique opportunity to have conversations around the fact that leadership does count and what kind of leadership Nigeria needs. But even more importantly is how to run for office. We had younger people who had contested elections, who had won, who are members of the House of Reps, share their experiences on campaigns, on mobilizing resources for running for office. There was a fantastic experience that was shared by members of the National Assembly today. We've got someone who ran for office in Kenya. We've got the youngest member of the Ghanaian parliament who also shared her experience of how she won her elections. And a lot of, and if not all, the youth candidates who are participating in this conference have expressed great optimism and are really energized to go into the field to get the votes that they need to win the elections for the common good of the people. And it's important to emphasize that what the movement is doing as a non-partisan movement that is committed to inclusive democracy and democratic accountability, we will continue to provide a framework for every young person who is interested in running for office to come, build their capacity, and launch out to provide the change that Nigeria needs.
All right, thanks so very much, Mr. Samson Itodo, convener of the Not Too Young to Run movement, for joining us on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you.